Hi, I'm Professor Siu-Wing, Associate Dean of Engineering and also Professor of Computer Science and Engineering. So today I would like to take this opportunity to introduce the programs in our School of Engineering at HKUST to all of you. Now, if you have paid attention to recent news on technology development in Hong Kong, you must have heard of the Inno Hong Kong, which is a substantial initiative by the government to push forward the technology and innovation developments in Hong Kong. Now, in fact, there are two centers being set up at Science Park. The first one is AI Research Center. The second one is Health Research Center. Although it's actually called a center, it's a big umbrella infrastructure. Within each center, there will be several clusters, and the government has invited many local institutions and also international institutions to actually participate in each of the clusters. Now, each of the clusters is actually very well funded, so they're going to be able to absorb many manpower, a lot of PhDs, a lot of research assistants, a lot of engineers into what they have to do in AI research, for example, which is particularly related to engineering. So I would think that in the next 5 to 10 years, it will be really a golden window of opportunity for those of you who are interested in technology development, engineering, and innovation. This will be a really huge opportunity for you guys. Now, given the opportunity facing us, what is our track record at UST? What have the faculty members and also our graduates have done in technology development? Now, my first example that I would like to introduce to you is our graduate, Frank Wang. He actually graduated from the computer engineering program. He founded DJI, which has been very successful. Now, DJI is actually getting over 70% of the market share in drones. Now, Frank Wang himself was a computer engineering graduate in 2006, and after that he actually studied for a master's degree at HKUST as well. And after his degree, he worked together with his faculty members and other collaborators and founded DJI. He was really crazy about flying drones. His final year project back in his final undergraduate years was already about flying drones. So this is really making his passion, making his dream come true. Now, my second example was actually a graduate, an alumni of my department, Computer Science and Engineering, Ken Law. He was actually a very successful businessman. When he was doing his summer intern, he was our first batch of summer intern to Silicon Valley, USA. He did a summer intern at Google. It was the old days that the mobile app and smartphone was actually getting very popular. So he saw that new wave of development in Silicon Valley. So when he came back to Hong Kong, finished his degree, he seized the opportunity and founded his own company, specializing on mobile apps, and it has been very successful. In a recent interview, he said mobile app market has been more or less matured, and now he's turning his eyes towards more new developments like AI, facial recognition, crowd control, motion tracking, all of these new exciting opportunities. If you come to more traditional engineering disciplines, we have an excellent graduate, Benny Zheng, class of 2007, graduated from the Chemical Bioproduct Engineering program. Now, when he first graduated, he followed the traditional chartering engineering path. So he joined an environmental protection company, and that he learned and went through the training period to gain different professional recognitions. That company actually was specialized in how to clean motor oil so that it becomes usable again. Now, after that, he actually moved to a company which is now demonstrated in the photo in the upper left-hand corner. I wonder whether you can tell what that company is. It's actually CLP. So you may wonder, it's a power company, but actually a power company, like many other engineering companies in Hong Kong, they're big enough that they actually need engineers from all disciplines. So although Benny was a chemical engineer by training, he actually joined the power company. In fact, CLP also hires mechanical engineers in addition to electrical engineer. So do many other big engineering firms in Hong Kong too. Now, you may wonder, how actually do our graduates do in the job market when they went out? This is a table showing the statistics from 2016, 2017, and 2018. Roughly speaking, about 80% of our graduates would be full-time employed after graduation. Another 14% or so will actually to go for further studies. And among these who go for further studies, actually a majority of them are not actually studying in Hong Kong. They may actually be studying overseas. Now there's still a few percentages missing, either because they did not respond to our survey or because they actually founded their own companies. Now if you look at the median salary of the fresh graduates from engineering school, you see a steady increase. It's actually a very, very decent starting salary. Back in 2017, I remember I looked at the data once. The average university graduate median salary for a fresh university graduate would be around 15,000. So therefore, being an engineering graduate actually gives you a competitive edge in the job market. Now, if you look at where they actually go to, you'll see that 60% of them will be in engineering industry sector, and then another roughly 40% will be in commerce and business sector. Now, although some of our graduates are in commerce and business sector, that doesn't mean that they change their job nature. In fact, it usually means that they are actually in IT industry, because the IT industry has already infiltrated into every corner of business, commerce. Now, so these are two tables that show you how popular our graduates are. The upper table actually shows you how quickly they can actually get their first job offer. So you see that 50% of them will actually land their first job before June. Doesn't mean that they will actually go to that job, because they may have multiple job offers. And definitely by August, 90% of our graduates has already got their job offer. Now, if you look at the lower table, you see that the number of job offers that they receive is actually usually 2, 3, or even 4. So about 60-some% of our graduates will get 2 or even more offers. So this dispels the myth that there are not so many engineering jobs in Hong Kong. In fact, there are a lot. Our graduates are actually popular. The majority of them actually have more than job offers at hand when they actually graduate. Now, what about our school? Now that I've shown you some statistics and examples of how our graduates do, what about our School of Engineering? How does it actually compare with the rest of the world or the rest of our sister institutions in Hong Kong? Now, there are 2 international rankings that we usually talk about, and that people actually talk about a lot internationally. The first one is the QS ranking, and then the second one is the Times Higher Education ranking. And we are looking at the subject, engineering and technology. And in these 2 rankings, we have always been ranking in the around 15 to 25. And in the QS and Times Higher Education ranking, in both rankings, we have been ranked number 1 in the world, I think, since 2002. In Hong Kong, sorry, I misspelled. We wish to be number 1 in the world, but we're not there yet. So we have been ranked number 1 in Hong Kong since 2002. So if you actually consider engineering, then HKUST Engineering School would be a natural choice. Now, if you look at locally, how does the local high school students perceive us? In 2019, among all the DSE applicants who are applying to comparable engineering programs in Hong Kong, if you focus on those whose total score in the best 5 subjects are 28 or above, that means an average of level 5 or above in each of the 5 subjects. 42% and more enrolled in our school. Now, if you actually look at a different measure, and look at those whose total score is at least 28 in English, Math, and best 3 other subjects, then more than 45% also enrolled in our school. So our school has actually attracted a lot of top talents among the high schools in Hong Kong. Now, so other than the talents that we have attracted, so what departments do we have in engineering? We have 6 departments: Civil and Environmental Engineering, Electronic and Computer Engineering, Computer Science and Engineering, Mechanical and Aerospace Engineering, Industrial Engineering and Decision Analytics, Chemical and Biological Engineering. Now, although there are only 6 departments, each department actually offers a bunch of major programs, so there are actually many choices. Let me just say, when you come to UST, not only that will you get a major, there are also many other opportunities too. For example, you can consider a minor, which means you only need to get 18 credits, and you can actually do a minor not just in engineering school. You can also do it in science school, you can also do it in business school, or the School of Humanities and Social Sciences. So there's no barrier as far as education is concerned at HKUST. You can also consider double major. Once you have your first major, if you are academically capable of handling bigger challenges, you can consider double major. Now your second major can be within the school, can also be across school, maybe it's a math major, our second major, maybe it's a business second major, or maybe even a humanities second major. We actually have had students who have done 3 majors within 4 years. So we are completely flexible. We try to accommodate talented students. Now, other than minors, double majors, we also have 2 special programs that can let you get 2 degrees in 5 years. The first one is our flagship dual degree program. You get 2 degrees, one in Bachelor in Engineering, one in Bachelor in Business Administration in 5 years. So this is in cooperation with our School of Business. And then there's another one, which is in cooperation with the University of Exeter. So again, you get 2 degrees in 5 years, one in engineering, and the other one is a law degree conferred by University of Exeter. Now that program works in an interesting way. You first spend your first 3 years at UST, and in the 4th year, you'll be an exchange student from UST in Exeter, finishing your engineering education, and then starting your law degree education. And in the 5th year, you will actually become a University of Exeter student, finishing up your law degree. So you can actually consider coming back to Hong Kong to practice as a lawyer. But when you do so, of course, you have to make up certain modules which are unique to the Hong Kong law environment. Now let me go a little bit deeper into different departments. Our first department is Civil and Environmental Engineering. It offers 2 majors. The first one is Civil Engineering. The other one is Civil and Environmental Engineering. So they are similar, but the second major has more emphasis on environmental issues, which is actually becoming a requirement for many of the listed companies in Hong Kong. The second department, ECE, it actually offers 2 majors. First major is Electronic Engineering. The other major is a joint major together with Computer Science Department, is Computer Engineering. Now in Electronic Engineering, you study many different directions depending on your interest. You can be focusing on computer architecture. You can be focusing on wireless communication. You can be focusing on display technology. You can also be focusing on very traditional control and signal processing. I'll say a little bit more about computer engineering later. Now for MAE, they actually offer 2 programs. The first one is Mechanical Engineering. And Mechanical Engineering basically concerns itself with all kinds of moving infrastructure, whether it's an escalator, whether it's signal system, railway system, whether it's actually lift, air conditioning, noise control, any moving infrastructure in nowadays smart intelligent buildings or smart road and railway systems, mechanical engineers will play a big role. The second major is Aerospace Engineering. This major takes in about 30 students a year. So when you actually get into the Mechanical and Aerospace Engineering department, they will then probe the students whether who will be interested in aerospace engineering, and then they will actually do some selection internally. Now, computer science has getting very popular, so the computer science and engineering department, I would like to spend a little bit more time on it. So this is the curriculum, a typical curriculum of our computer science degree. The middle box shows you the required courses. The lower box actually shows you the electives, the topics in the electives that you can choose from. So it's a very, very typical and very general, very broad computer science education. At the same time, it allows you to focus in things that you like in the lower box. You can pick whatever that you like in the lower box, depending on your interests. Now, what about nowadays? There are some AI undergraduate programs in Hong Kong and also in other parts of the world. Usually, what would they do? For example, they may actually do the blue courses, the courses that are actually shown in blue over here. So you see that some of the computer science required courses are also required courses in the AI degree. Some of the electives, like AI machine learning, they are also they become required courses in the AI degree. But it's also available in our HKUST Com degree as well. Now, what about the electives in a typical AI degree? So those courses which are highlighted in red are the typical elective electives available. So you see that many of the electives offered by AI degree, there are also electives in our computer science degree training as well. There are some which are not, they are outside the box. For example, time series, game theory, manufacturing, robotics, healthcare, medical imaging. They are not courses that we in the computer science department will offer. But however, HKUST has a very open environment. For example, game theory. There are game theory courses in the math department, and you are welcome to actually go to the math department and take those courses. Manufacturing, you are welcome to go to the mechanical engineering department or the industrial engineering department to take courses in manufacturing. Robotics, definitely, you can cross over to the Department of ECE to take their robotics courses. So there are ways that you can also cover these topics. If you're interested in these topics while you are studying at UST, we have a completely flexible curriculum. We have also two other related disciplines which are related to AI and also computer science. The first one is Bachelor of Engineering in Computer Engineering, jointly administered by Computer Science and Engineering Department and also the Department of Electronic and Computer Engineering. So if you look at the program itself, they also required and electives. Basically, it's half and half. Half of it is on computer hardware, and then the other half is on computer software. We also have a new program that the department, my department, jointly administer with the Department of Mathematics, Bachelor of Science in Data Science and Technology. So in a nutshell, this degree actually focuses on half of it is on mathematics that can help you to analyze big data. For example, probability, regression analysis, numerical analysis. And then the other half of the curriculum will be on machine learning, artificial intelligence, algorithms, other kinds of cloud computing, for example. These are the computing techniques that you will need to handle big data. So these are also two other IT programs that you can consider. Now, the next department I want to talk about is the Chemical and Biological Engineering Department. It actually offers 4 degrees. The first 3 degrees, Bachelor of Engineering in Chemical Engineering, Chemical and Environmental Engineering, Chemical and Biomolecular Engineering. They are really very traditional chemical engineering degrees, depending on their focus. Roughly speaking, they look at the processes that can turn raw materials into useful products. In biomolecular engineering, maybe actually some plastics, maybe some other biomolecular products, or maybe some other petroleum industry products. But there's a new program, Bachelor of Engineering in Bioengineering, that is actually, I would like to say a bit more today. Now it covers imaging, biomaterials and tissue engineering, as well as molecular functions. Now these 3 topics, they are actually traditional topics in a typical biomedical engineering degree. So our bioengineering degree also covers the same 3 topics. But on top of it, due to our research strength in synthetic biology, so our bioengineering degree, we also put some focus on synthetic biology. Now what is synthetic biology? You can think about one example as genetic engineering to actually cure you of some genetic diseases. Basically, if your body lacks something and then they will try to use biological and chemical means to introduce something to actually help your body to recover. So the graduates of bioengineering, because of the biomedical training and also exposures to synthetic biology, typically they can look for opportunities in hospitals, private industries, bioproducts, and typically 1/3 of them may actually go for further studies. And when you finish your master or doctor degrees overseas, usually in the Western world, they may even have bigger private market and private industries to absorb bioengineering graduates as well. The next department that I want to talk about is Industrial Engineering and Decision Analytics. It offers 2 programs. One is Industrial Engineering and Engineering Management. This one has to do with traditional industrial engineering, manufacturing, as well as logistics management. And then there's another new program, which is a Bachelor of Engineering in Decision Analytics. Now this program is actually fairly new. It consists of 2 concentrations, and students are free to choose one of them. One of the concentration is on financial engineering. So they talk about problems and issues that are faced by investment banks, hedge funds, high volume trading. The other concentration is consulting services. They talk about business supply chain, operation research. For example, consulting firms are quite often hired by big companies to look at their business supply chain to see whether they can actually save some inefficiencies and push their profit margin, or whether they can actually change their operation to make it more efficient, more profitable. So roughly speaking, decision analytics takes three things and put them together. First, the domain knowledge, maybe it's financial well, maybe it's business supply chain. Then you add math models onto it. Quite many models are actually stochastic to model business uncertainty and other uncertainty as well. At the end of the day, you still have to make use of computing power. So then the students actually trained in all three disciplines, all three topics, in order to handle the job requirements in each of the domain. Okay, the last department I want to talk about is actually a division, Integrative Systems and Design. It offers a BSc degree. Now, this program is fairly new and very novel. Traditionally, when a student actually studies in a program, there will be certain courses that you're supposed to take in the first year, certain courses that you're supposed to take in the second year, and then each course is well designed. In the first week, you do something. In the second week, you learn something else. So all very well structured courses and curriculum and study pathway. Now, in this particular bachelor degree, it's also well structured. But on the other hand, the students will be actually gathered in groups, and they will be assigned projects. And the idea is that the projects will lead them to actually learn actively. For example, if the project, you're in a group of 3, and the project asks you to actually design an electric car, then one of the students may actually have to learn basic electronics in order to assemble things together. The other student may have to learn some basic mechanical engineering to see how to actually get feedback and control different mechanical parts, the motor, for example. And the third student may actually have to learn some basic computer programming in order to program the electric car. So then they may actually go out, go their separate ways, and then learn these basic skills for 3-4 weeks, and then come back and work on the project. And if they pick up something that they find out that they have to learn something in addition, they may also take some other bite-sized courses again. So basically, this is turning the situation around that you are no longer led by the lecturer to tell you what to learn. Instead, you are working closely together with a faculty member supervisor. The supervisor will actually meet with you regularly on a weekly and maybe several times a week to supervise you and see how you progress. And in case of need, they will actually give you advice on what you need to pick up. But after all, it's really a training that trains you to be a very active learner. Okay, now there are so many majors, so many departments. So many of you by now must be worrying that you can't really wrap your mind around so many different departments and different majors. So what do you do? Now, the good thing about School of Engineering at UST is that in our first year, you don't actually have a major. Almost all of our students, they don't have a major in the first year. So what it means is that in the first year, you are encouraged to take your time to actually take different introductory courses of different majors according to your own interests. We don't force you, but you're given a choice and you are given the time to actually do your self-exploration in the first year. And then at the end of the first year, you'll be asked to rank all the majors in the school into a rank list, your first priority, your second priority, and so on and so forth. And then you'll be given a major based on your rank list and also your academic performance in the first year. Now, many of you may then worry about will you be able to get into a major that you would like? According to our experience, about 90% of our students will be able to get their top 2 choices. So you don't really need to worry about not getting into something that you actually like. The chance is actually very slim. Now, after you actually pass through the first year, get into the major that you like, there are many other things that you do throughout your studies. One of the top activities that we always recommend our students to consider is exchange. Many of our students will actually go on exchange in year 3, either in the fall semester or in the spring semester for 1 whole semester. And then if you do that, you have to apply 1 year ahead. So basically in year 2, you have to think about whether you want to go on exchange. Now, at the moment in time, roughly about almost half of our cohort each year, almost half of the yearly cohort will actually go to some place for exchange. Now, during exchange, for tuition fee, you only pay the HKUST tuition fee, no matter where you go. For example, you may be going to University of Pennsylvania. Ivy League school in US, that actually the tuition fee is quite high, but you still actually just pay the HKUST tuition fee. And then, of course, you'll be responsible for your own local and accommodation expenses. Now, we have many exchange partners all over the world. A lot of them are in North America. We have many in Europe. We also have partners in Australia and also Far East. So there's really a lot of choices that you can consider. So we really recommend this exchange program highly. And in addition, even if you are not going on exchange, because we have such a big exchange program at HKUST, at any moment in time, we have about 1,000 international students on campus at any moment in time. Our total UG population is roughly around 8,000. So you can see that there's really a high percentage of international students on campus. So even if you're not going exchange, you still get a very good international experience at the HKUST campus. Other than exchange, you can also consider doing undergraduate research. We have an undergraduate research opportunities program, Europe, and the International Research Opportunity Program. For this is really a very worry-free method way for you to find out whether you like to do research, and if you like to do research, what particular topic you may be interested in. This is especially suitable for those who would like to consider a further studies after getting their bachelor degree. So this doesn't count into your GPA. In each semester, you can just look at the list of topics proposed by professors. And if you find something that you like, you just talk to that particular faculty member and see whether there's any mutual interest. And if there's mutual interest, you can work on the project for one semester. And the next semester, you can continue to go deeper. You can also think about talking to another professor to work on another research project. We also have another exchange program. It's a Harvard Summer Exchange Program. This exchange program puts students and Harvard students together, mix them up, and split them into two teams. So each team contains half USD students and half Harvard students. And they spend roughly 4 weeks at Harvard and another 4 weeks at UST. And then they will actually do theme projects together. For example, in the past, they have actually done projects on personalized electric vehicle. So they actually assemble a electric vehicle that can seat one person, and then in the end there's a competition that you have to actually be able to drive the electric vehicle on a campus and see who is going to win the competition. Other than these academic activities, we also have other extracurricular activities. We have a very beautiful track and field, swimming pool, all kinds of activities that you may not have the opportunity to explore in your high school. So you're welcome to actually make use of them while you are studying at UST. Other than athletic activities, we also have many cultural activities: orchestra, dance, magic, cinema, music, all kinds of activities. The School of Engineering also actually use our engineering students to produce a microfilm every year. So in fact, we have a collection of 4 microfilms. If you go onto YouTube, you actually see them. Last year, the microfilm was about experiential learning at the School of Engineering. And this year, we have a new microfilm, Why Engineering? This is really about the Smart Campus initiative that is going on at the UHK-UST campus. Now, so after introducing so many features of the program of our university, let's say, how do you actually get into this wonderful program? Now, if you're a Jupas student, then the School of Engineering catalog number is JS5200. In the next year, our intake is going to be about 650, which is similar to what we had in the past. There's a minimum requirement that you need to satisfy. So you need to take 4 core courses: Chinese, English, Math compulsory, and Liberal Studies. Chinese, English, and Math, you have to attain a level 3 or above. For Liberal Studies, you have to attain a level 2 or above. And you need to have at least 2 other electives. You have to attain level 3 or above in them. The first elective must be a science subject, so which includes biology, or chemistry, or physics, or ICT, or combined science. Now the second elective can be anything, including M1 and M2. So we'll consider M1 and M2 as your second elective as well. So that is the minimum requirement. And after you satisfy the minimum requirement, how do we actually calculate admission score to rank students and decide who will join the school? After you get your result, DSE result slip, the thing that you do is the following. Take your English score, multiply by 2. So level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 star is 6, 5 double star is 7. So multiply your English score by 2. Multiply your math compulsory score by 2. Multiply your science subject score by 2. If you are taking only ICT without another one of the other science subjects, then you can only need to multiply by 1. Now, if you're studying M1 and M2, multiply that score by 1.5. So it actually is a good thing that you actually do M1 and M2. And everything else just a weighting of 1. Now, after you have multiplied all these factors, take the 5 subjects with the highest score and sum them up. That is the admission score. So therefore, we actually favor students who perform well in English, math, science, and M1 and M2. But I must also add that maybe about 30% of our students joining engineering, they actually do not have M1 and M2. So it's not compulsory. In fact, some of our students who join School of Engineering may not have physics either. So physics is also not compulsory. You may worry about, well, if I don't have M1 and M2, if I really come to School of Engineering, will I be at a disadvantage? This is not true. You will not be at a disadvantage because in year 1 you don't have any major. So in year 1 you have a whole year's time to study the appropriate math and science courses that will let you to catch up to the level that you need to go into the major of your liking. So there's a whole year's time for you to catch up, so you don't need to worry about. At USD, we have math courses at various levels, we have science courses at various levels to cater for high school students with different backgrounds. So that you can be rest assured that we really will be able to give you the education that you need. Now this is an example of what happened this year. The new cohort that just entered USD. You see 2 rows of results. These are actual results of real students. The first row is the median student in the cohort that we just admitted. The lower quartile means if you start from the last student that we admitted, go up by 25%, that is that particular student. Now, however, remember, we don't actually look at the entire result slip. We do the multiplication and then pick the best 5 subjects. So you'll see that if you are actually going to, if you think your overall result will roughly at the lower quartile or slightly below the lower quartile, you actually still have a very good chance of joining USD. So USD Engineering really cater for students from a big spectrum. We have very talented students, but sometimes we also take in students with may not be a perfect academic performance, but you never know. Sometimes students really shine after they come to USD. Students may actually shine after they graduate from USD. Now I want to actually emphasize that there's a separate Jupas box for the degree program, BSc in Integrative Systems and Design. So if you want to join this program, you can do it 1 year. You can first join School of Engineering and then try to get into this major after your first year in engineering. The other option is actually pick this as your Jupas choice, as one of your Jupas choices. Now, if you actually do that, if you're going to pick this as one of your Jupas choices, you should actually go to this URL and visit the website to find out what are the requirements, because they require you to submit certain portfolio. They also require you to attend some hands-on interview, which is actually very important. There are certain dates, deadlines that you have to observe. So go to that website and take a good look. Now, one more thing that I want to tell the Jupas student is that we talk about the minimum requirement: Chinese, English, math, and liberal studies. Now, if by accident you miss out by 1 level in one of these minimum requirements, let's say Chinese language, you don't only get a level 2 instead of level 3. Now, if you have at least 3 stars in the 3 STEM subjects which are listed in the slide here, if you get at least 3 stars, either you get 1 star in 3 subjects, 1 star in each 3 of these STEM subjects, or 1 2-star, 1 double star, and another 1 star in these STEM subjects, then we'll actually look at your application again. So for example, this year, we actually retrieved some applications who may not satisfy the minimum requirement, and then for those who actually have 3 stars or above in the STEM subjects, we'll reconsider the application, actually gave out some offers too. So if you are really interested in HKUST engineering, put us in Band A. If you by accident you actually miss out the minimum requirement, we will actually look at your application again if you actually have very good performance in the STEM subjects. Now, we're going to run 2 engineering exploration day twice. The coming one is in November 23rd. We actually may not be interviewing everybody in the November round, so don't worry. If you are going to pick USD Engineering in your Band A, we will try to interview as many as possible in our May round. So there will be 2 rounds. You only need to attend one of the 2. Now, if you're invited for the exploration day in November, please try to come because we usually don't invite the same student again in May if that student actually missed the interview in November. There will be group interviews. You may actually get bonus points. There will be good career talks, and then you'll be able to mingle with our students here to find out more about UST and the majors. Now, for the non-Jupas application, the early round is going to open on November 15th. And then main round is going to open in January 6th. Now, I encourage you to apply early if you are international non-Jupas applicant because we look at the applications and we actually issue offers on an ongoing basis. And then when we see very talented students, we'll also consider them for scholarships as well. So apply early if you have all your documents ready. Now, there are several main qualifications that we consider. So let me go through them. The first one is IB Diploma. For IB Diploma, we require senior level mathematics and also senior level subjects in chemistry, biology, physics, computer studies. Our mid-50 range, meaning if you look at the middle range of students with IB scores who are admitted to UST is about 36 to 40. But however, since we have a local quota to fill, so if you have a local status in Hong Kong and you are a local student doing IB, we will certainly look at your application favorably. So therefore, I do encourage local students with IB qualifications to apply to School of Engineering. The second one is the GCE A-level application. Again, the mid-50 ranges is about A star, AA to even higher performance. We only look at 3 A-level subjects and we require math, pure math, or further math, and then plus another science subjects or computer studies. SAT is more complicated, so let me not go through the detail. These are the requirements that we look at. We look at the new SAT, we look at the ACT plus writing as well. So these are the scores that we require. Only the score is actually considered. We don't have any minimum score required of any of the 3 components for SAT. We usually will also look at AP too. If you actually have AP, let us know your AP results. We'll look at them. They will strengthen your case. We also look at SAT subjects too. If you have these subject scores, it may also strengthen your case as well. Okay, so finally, these are the means of contacts. If you want to contact us for information, you want to ask any questions, let us know.